and thank you for watching this session about digital transformation in education. Today, I'm here with Gijs Martens, founder and CEO of Gen25 and Booker25, and Jérôme Vincendon, our solution engineer. Our guest for today is Marcus Wilhelm, Chief Information Officer at Education First. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Melle, Marketing Manager at Booker25. I will be your moderator for the next 20 minutes or so, and we will be talking about digital transformation in education, and we will show a short demo on integrating planning and scheduling into the student journey. To kick things off, Marcus, can you tell us a little bit about Education First and your role?
Yes. Okay, I'll try to be brief, but in general, EF, which stands for Education First, actually, is a group of companies, about 12 of them around the world. We are about 45,000 people, and we have existing. And we're originally very focused on language learning, which is our primary goal, but we also have what we call educational travel, where we bring a lot of students from the US or to Europe for culture experiences. So that's why we call it educational travel experiences, really, because most of our business is based on travel to the country where the language that you're trying to learn is actually spoken.
And can you tell us a little bit about your role at Education First?
Well, I work at Education First. I moved to China, where I am currently, even though my background is San Francisco, about 2.5 years ago. And I'm basically running IT infrastructure and systems. But we've been focusing a lot on more of the transformation, is a kind of a buzzword, the digital transformation of the business. So what we've been looking at when I came here about 2.5 years is looking to strategic partners like Booker to help us utilize and what I call automate, standardize, and simplify a lot of business processes. Because when you talk about digital transformation, what you're actually trying to do is improve and automate and simplify a lot of business processes that usually has been in a company for a very, very long time. A lot of this has been because of historical reasons, but most of them are also because you have a lot of legacy systems that require you to do a process a certain way. So at my 2.5 years here, we've been looking in a lot of what we call BPR, which is business process reengineering, where we basically taking current business processes and all aspects of the company, from sales, marketing, operation, finance, etc., and trying to automate them to make it easier and more efficient for employees to do their job.
In your experience, what do you see happening in the education industry regarding student interaction?
I think, the combination of offline, online, and self-study is obviously something that will be very, very big. And with COVID and stuff like that, that will accelerate, obviously. But I think when it comes down to it, is making sure that, everybody's trying to revolutionize education and stuff like that. But I think in general, it's just like to have good teacher, good course material, and good testing. That's how you actually can see the result. And our focus is to have the best teacher and the best education for anybody, especially in China, who wants to learn English. You only have, native speakers who actually are from the US or the UK. But I think there is it's not only education industry, it's every other industry. They're in very little focused in what I said before, traditional non-operational focuses business like education that can be very, very optimized in regards to using systems to make sure that the business processes are as efficient and as clear as can be. Since most people are just focusing on sales and marketing and not so much on the scheduling portion, which is obviously a big part of an operational business from an educational perspective.
Thank you very much. So Education First and Booker25 have been working together since about 2017, I believe. Maybe, Gijs, it might be interesting for you to tell us a little bit more about how this collaboration came about.
So we started developing Booker25 8 years ago That's 2012. And we saw the needs of a Booker platform and the scheduling tool directly in Salesforce. So all the customer information and reservation data are available on one platform. So that year, we launched the first version of our application for meeting rooms, flex working spaces, and event venues. We got in touch with Hult Ashridge when they were looking for a Salesforce scheduling tool, where we met Marcus, and where we start looking at how Booker25 could fit as a solution for various education use cases. So when Marcus started at Education First Kids and Teens to be responsible for the strategic change in the EF IT landscape, so we start talking about the added value of Booker25 could bring to help them digitize and automate the scheduling process to replace a custom-built solution. Does it sound familiar for you, Marcus?
Yeah, as I said earlier, I was originally about 4 years ago, I started with Hult Ashridge with EF, which is our MBA and undergraduate and graduate education, as well as executive education. What's interesting of classes, whatever is online or offline, is one of our key components in driving efficiency and scalability. So I met Gijs almost 4.5 years ago, and we hit it off. What's interesting here is that EF is basing all their, so to say, ERP functionality on Salesforce. We're a very sales and marketing oriented company, and we are not a traditional company in the ways that we could utilize traditional ERP like SAP, Oracle, or IBM for logistics or anything like that. So we decided to build on our sales and marketing initiatives and build the operational aspect of Salesforce solution. And we found Booker that's been very, very helpful for us to utilize the whole calendar and optimization of classrooms in particular, and scheduling in general, both teachers and students.
Because can you elaborate a little bit more on why Booker25 is a good fit and how exactly you are using it?
Yes, I mean, I think in general, our strategy has always been looking for companies that are startup that is very, very hungry. More what I call, instead of a small fish in a big pond, we wanted to develop solutions, even though they're SaaS solutions, according to the needs that we did. So when Gijs and I first met, we started talking about where we saw this product going and the roadmap and how that could fit into our roadmap, because obviously the first version doesn't necessarily include all of the benefits that we wanted to see long term. And we saw a very, very good fit with Gijs and the team, both on a personal level and a professional level, that we shared a common vision of what you could do on a booking and scheduling system based on Salesforce. And
what is this vision?
Well, the vision is basically that you have a lot of input with this, is requirements of students and bookings and the stuff that they want to do. And we obviously have to optimize the whole teacher resourcing and of course the physical classrooms. So it's basically a triangle of teachers, students, and classrooms, and helping to optimize this and making sure that it could be as streamlined as possible and also as user-friendly, that a teacher who's not used to an advanced scheduling system, or a student or anybody else in the operational staff could easily start using the system from basically the first time that they use it without an extensive training or anything else.
Does the teachers find it easy to use?
Well, clearly I wouldn't be here if that was not the case. We've been very, very, very happy with Booker and especially the responsiveness on certain of the functionality. I think it's important to state this. When we started, we had we hadn't completely clear where we want to go, just a very, very high level vision. And it's been more of a, instead of a vendor-customer relationship, it's been more of a partnership between us and Booker on how we actually could utilize their product and enhance their product to fit our specific needs.
And can you maybe tell a little bit about the situation before Booker25? What was the situation you came from?
Well, we had a legacy system, like most companies. The operational aspect of most companies, if you're not in a very operational heavy industry like supply chain or logistics, operational part is usually an afterthought in a lot of companies, because people are using Excel or manual processes that are just kept, as a tool that is not in a clear database that you can actually use, and sending documents back and forth. So we had some old legacy systems, but there were also like systems that were not in place, or proprietary legacy systems that were on old technology stacks or were not so user-friendly as it's been with Booker.
As you know, we are continuously developing together with you guys, developing Booker25 to make sure it meets the needs of our customers and of your business. What are some of the topics that maybe you anticipate becoming more relevant?
Well, I think in general, for us, it's more of how we can optimize resource handling of teachers, classrooms, and students, and also any kind of the changes that constantly keeps going on. People are on sick leave, or a student cancels, or a teacher is sick, etc. To so to say, adhere to those changes in a very, very quick and suggested manner. For example, like a teacher goes and says that they're sick, that the system then comes up with suggestion with teacher, which has the correct qualification, that somebody like a DOS, which is what we call a director of studies, and they're very, very heavily involved in the scheduling, can make sure that that works. We are also looking into, obviously, as we move into online a lot more, because we have a combination of online and offline, to use the scheduling system both for our offline and our online students.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
I think, Jérôme, do you want to take over the screen and do the demo, and then perhaps afterwards we can comment on that?
Yeah, I think it's all visible to you guys, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, thanks. Okay, yeah, so what I want to showcase quickly, Marcus, and the rest who's watching, obviously, is how we can use Booker25 to schedule a university schedule in a similar fashion as that education first does it. So this is obviously a demo environment. What we're using is EDA, which is the Salesforce Education Architecture, and we use it to store course information, basically. And what I want to show now is how we schedule exactly like Marcus explained already, the triangle of teachers, classrooms, and students. So we start off on a course offering overview here, where we see all of the courses that are scheduled for this quarter right here. And we're going to start off with one specific student, John Amos. And from his record page here, we see the course connections related list. So these are all the courses that he is enrolled in, and these are also the ones that we just saw on the previous screen. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at John's calendar. So as you can see, it is now completely empty. And what we're going to do is schedule the actual courses for him. So this is where we see that one classroom session is linked to the students and the teachers, etc. So to do that, I go to the Booker25 scheduler. And this is what we have worked on together with Education First. So what are we looking at? So we see a week overview of a classroom schedule without specific dates. So this is really the abstract schedule for this quarter. And it consists of templates which represent individual classes. So if I open one of those templates, we see that each class is linked to a course offering, to a classroom, and to a teacher in this case. And we also specify when a classroom session should start, when it should end, and Booker calculates how many occurrences or how many sessions it then needs to generate. And then using this component right here, I can actually start scheduling the classes. So when I do that, what's going to happen? In the backend, we're going to generate actual sessions for each course. And that's going to be based on the input parameters, such as the course offering, the teacher, the classroom, which we previously saw. And in this demo, obviously, that's all pretty basic. But you can imagine, like Marcus said, in a real life use case, you will want to take into consideration teacher availability, skill set, for example, what happens if a teacher is not available for a specific week, etc. So the beauty that we have here is that behind this scheduler, you can implement any kind of custom logic that needs to be taken into account and basically include it in the generation algorithm. So you can consider which teachers apply best for which course, which classrooms are best applicable due to how nearby they are or what their availability is, for example. And this can take you a really long way into automated scheduling, basically. So let's have a look at what happens. So if I go back to John's calendar, you can see that the actual classes are now getting generated. So let's have a look at one of these into a bit more detail. So if I open this one, for example, you can see that it lives as a Salesforce record in Salesforce, and it contains all of the necessary information, relevant data, such as the course offering that we saw, the classroom, the teacher, etc. So this is what you can use to track progress, store documents for individual sessions. You can collaborate via chatter, mark attendance, all of these things, because everything is related to the same record. So what we're going to do here, for example, is that I can add some homework to this specific session, and then I just need to make sure that I share it with my community members. And I can, for example, tell my students that I will be a little bit later via chatter. So here I use chatter to inform everyone that I'll be 5 minutes late. So yeah, that's all of the stuff that we can do on a single reservation. And then the fact that it's linked to a classroom, a teacher, and the students means that we can track calendars of all of these things, right? So we already saw John's calendar with John as the student, but I can also go to my resource calendar, for example. And here we see all of the classrooms in our university. So we also see the classes scheduled here, and these are again the exact same records as we saw on John's calendar. And finally, I can also switch to a teacher's perspective, where we see all of the teachers and their classes. So that's what it looks like on a Salesforce side, on a teacher scheduler side. But what does it look like from a student side, from a student perspective? So for that, I'm going to switch to John's view. And John has access to a mobile community from where he can obviously interact with all of that data. So if I take my phone here, we can go to my classes, for example, and then we start off with, well, an overview of the courses that we have today. So this is a really basic example of how you can give your students easy access to their classroom schedule. And these are, again, the exact same data, obviously, as in Salesforce. So if I open the first one, the first reservation right here, we again have the overview of course offering, which classroom is it in, who is the staff, who is the teacher, etc. And we also have access to the stuff that I just uploaded, right? So I can see my homework here. From the files, I can go to the homework, or I can have a look at chatter, where I just see a notification that my teacher will be 5 minutes late. So it's just a really nice way to show how the student also stays in the loop in this very basic process. Like Mark said, we make it as simple as possible for everyone involved. And finally, I'm going to go back to the point where we started. If I go back to my course offerings here and I open one of them, we see that the physical or the classroom sessions are also linked to that actual course offering. So basically we have the whole 360-degree overview of everything that is going on in our university. So yeah, there you have it, a typical example of scheduling possibilities in Booker25.
Thanks for the demo, Jérôme. Our team is continuously developing and improving Booker25. Gijs, what is the team working on at the moment?
Of course, the Lightning upgrade is released, and we have recently released a configurable consumer-facing landing page. So, for example, the students can make reservations for study spaces or meeting rooms. And overall, we want to enable employees and consumers to create their own reservations and engage more with their customers. We are more focusing on also on the consumer side and the customer facing. So public pages where you can book your reservations. So the back end is good enough, but we need to have also the experience on the front. So that will be our main goal for this year.
A lot of exciting new things to look forward to in the development of Booker25 for education. And with this, I would like to wrap up our session for today about digital transformation in education. Thank you, Gijs and Jérôme. And of course, a special thanks to Marcus for your time and for sharing your expertise with us. If you're watching this and you would like some more information about how Booker25 can help you with your scheduling and planning needs, please don't hesitate to get in touch. You should see our contact details on the screen now. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time. Bye.